ago and said, like, you're checking your news because something's about to start. And sure enough, there it was. It popped.
Yes,
And
literally.
then I went to the store after I put it up, and somebody let me know that I had a problem with like some of the sound from one of the videos that was in it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have to take it down and redo this. And sure enough, Greg calls and says, hey, they just hit. I'm like, oh man, okay.
If you can do this, so we can confirm that. So Truth Social is overwhelmed. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you. We're going to go through everything. Prof, if you'll carry the conversation right now for everybody super chatting, for all of you guys, thank you. I had no prep in this. I told guys.
Neither of us did.
I was playing.
I mean, we had prep for the last 5 days, right? I mean,
we did.
You could see that this was about to happen. Go ahead and do what you're going to do.
I need to do what I'm doing because I want to get to AP over here. You talk, but I can confirm. Okay. Let me catch up with what I was confirming from Israel, and then you can talk about it.
Go ahead.
The B-2 bombers carried out the attack 100%. The bombers that flew to Guam, Israel is saying, were a decoy. The other planes were already en route to the target. That's coming in from Israel. Trump did post, and it's down right now. Maybe it's back up. Fordow is gone. We have that. Let me go back to this.
And you knew where it was going to be hitting too. I mean, nobody was unaware of this. Like I said, in the last thing that I posted, I was saying like you could almost feel in the weather. Like, you know how that feeling that you have when it's about to rain and you can, like, it hasn't rained yet, but you feel like it just changed. It's cool. The humidity changed, whatever. Like you could feel it in the news just now. You could see things like movement of military aircraft. And I was showing you that. You could see it with like the embassy being evacuated, or embassy workers in Israel being evacuated. All those kind of things were signed, like the American airmen having this meal of steak and lobster. That's a sign, like before they get sent. I mean, like there was sign after sign after sign, and it was going to pop, and you knew it. And it's hard to predict. It's really a fool's errand to try to predict things, but you could feel it. So go ahead.
U.S. Senator John Fetterman coming in. As long as I've maintained, this was the correct move by the President of the United States. He is the Democratic senator from Pennsylvania. Iran is the world's leading sponsor of terrorism and cannot have nuclear capabilities. I'm grateful for and salute the finest military in the world. So when this first came out, okay, you know what my son asked me? We were here. I'm playing music. My piano's right in front of me. We're playing music. I'm watching stuff. I call you. I kick him out. I say, Dad's going live. And my son looks at me. He's 17. He goes, Dad, am I getting drafted?
Yeah, well, my kids were in the car, so
that was his
I had
first
the same
question.
conversation. My kids are in the car. I was at the dollar store, right, with my kids. Like, this is like, they love this place because they can count a little over $1 and hand over their money and get something, right? And my second to youngest daughter was saying, wait, so we're at war, so are we in danger? Like, like that's the first thing they're thinking. Well, it depends on what Iran does. I don't think so, but it just depends on what they do moving forward. And it looks like you were telling, go ahead.
No, you keep talking. We got plenty of time.
It looks like what you were telling Fink, because I was watching that as well. You were talking to Jonathan Fink. Like, it looks like the design is regime change, but this isn't regime change. This is just putting out their nuclear ability. There was an interview on CNN where I can't remember what this guy was in the government, but he was saying, hey, look, it's within our rights. So we're like, why are you enriching nuclear material to 60%? When you get to 90%, you can make a bomb. When you're at 60%, it's real easy to get to 90% comparatively than going from 0 to 60. Now, you only need 3% enrichment in order to work your nuclear power plant, as I understand. This is from Radio Free Europe. I'm quoting them. This isn't me, right? And so why they had all this 60% sitting around, and it doubled since Trump took office. That's what's happened here lately. Like this is from CNN. This isn't me making up stuff. So it's Again, Trump's going to need to report why he did what he did so that people understand it. Because I know, like, look, we talk about Ukraine, and ironically, on the left, they tend to be more anti-attacking Iran than not. But if you're pro-Ukraine, you ought to be saying thank you to the Israelis for what they have done, and the Americans now for what they've done in order to degrade Russia's one of Russia's closest allies, probably as important, if not more important, than North Korea in their attempts to attack Ukraine. So
let's talk about that for one moment. Let me tell you this: coming in, Donald Trump will address the world at 5 a.m. Israel time. That's 10 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be here. Trump has stated privately to Israel and to his crew, but not publicly yet, that Iran must agree to end the war now and stop striking Israel now. United States bases that are in Western Asia moving into the Persian Gulf have now been put on high alert.
Yeah. And you can see from all the ships and all the planes, everything moving out there, like they're serious. It's on like Donkey Kong. So I don't know if much more will come of this because they just took out the biggest targets necessary, right?
Well,
I mean,
the house of cards is going to fall now. Let me tell you what I'm talking about.
That would be pretty impressive.
All right, let's do this.
Somebody just asked me in my comments, is this a joke? This is not a joke.
No, this is not a joke.
The United States can you flash the Trump the Truth Social so people can see this? This is not a joke.
I'll be happy to.
The U.S. just bombed nuclear sites in Iran.
Truth Social is down. But
Truth Social is down. Did you get an image of it? Because I saw it on Twitter.
No, I've got them all. I've got them all.
Yeah,
I've got them all.
I guess it's overloaded right now.
Here we go, guys. We'll go with this. Prof, you read this. I'm pulling up a video. Boom. There you have it.
We've completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow. That's the big one. Natanz and Efshan. The planes are now outside Iranian airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so 2 things about that. One, Trump really overuses this "thank you for your attention to this matter" in many of his tweets. Have you noticed that? Second thing is that Fordow, like, they needed bunker busters, and for that you have to have a stealth bomber or something, I mean, I don't know.
The B2 is the only one that
B2
can carry
bomber,
those.
whatever it was. It was something big that has to be over it. You don't really launch it from a distance as much as get over it in order to drop it on it. So
let's do this. I have a couple of things I want to show.
Allison, somebody asked, did Congress approve? Congress does not have to approve until now. So what happens is the executive has authority for 60 days. He has to be able to get a congressional approval from Congress within 60 days from the beginning of an action. So that's the answer to that question.
All right, I've got some videos loaded up here that we're going to share in due process as we're talking, because I saw a question in my chat, and guys, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm going to do my very best. Mods are working, but right now there's 14,000 people watching, and a lot of comments are flying. Here's the question. I saw it from Goose Springsteen, I think. What will this do to oil prices? And yesterday on Jonathan Fink's live, I really believed if the U.S. was going to do it, it's going to be this weekend or next weekend. And the reason being, markets have time to digest the information. We're on Saturday here in the United States. But
Markets hate uncertainty like this, so oil prices will go up in the short term. In the long term, who knows exactly? I mean, like, is Iran going to be sanctioned where they can't get that stuff out? Or are they still blocking the Strait of Hormuz? All those things will have impact on this one way or another.
Let me check. So it was not just Fordow, but it was also Natanz.
I pronounced that wrong. No surprise.
So once again, Natanz and Eshahan. So we talked about these all week. Yeah. Okay. So they're Ifashan. They're all here together, guys. Let me do this. I confirmed the locations for you, but the three nuclear sites that have been struck are basically between Qom and Isfahan. So this is that area right here. And I was telling everyone earlier, the earthquake video I did a few days ago, the reason I did that was because the depth of that was only 2.5 kilometers. It could indicate nuclear testing or an accident or something blew up. The earthquake today, which actually happened over here, was 10.5 kilometers deep. That was natural, which Iran has all the time. But this is the area. So the United States has struck the three nuclear facilities, one here, one there, and one there. They're all right in the middle of the country. Fordow, Natanz, and Eshahan, there by Isfahan. Okay, now, we were talking, let me get back to this view, and let me check. This is what we're looking at on Truth Social. If you don't think the world is paying attention to this, look at there. Gone.
Oh, sure it is.
Overwhelmed. So we'll go back to this. Fortunately, we were able to grab those screenshots in time. This is the other one. Sorry, that's the wrong image. We need to go to this. Fordow is gone. This was tweeted Truth tweeted right before Truth Social went down. And Donald Trump retweeted. Let's just agree to call it tweets. Retweeted.
Yeah, just call it tweets.
Thank you. Fordow is
you don't call it X'd.
No,
right?
No, exactly.
Yeah, so this is big. This is legitimate. It is happening.
Let's do.
There's no question about it.
Keep talking.
It is not a scam. This isn't H.G. Wells. This actually just happened, and we're talking about it in real time. So
let's do this
bot attacks on Truth Social may have been taking this down. Somebody was suggesting.
Well, I don't want to go conspiracy. I want to go fact only. But
no, I'm just saying somebody's suggesting. I'm not
Absolutely.
saying that this is
I completely
who
agree
knows what
with
it is.
that.
It could be just too many people overwhelming the system. I mean, that was
For
my
sure.
first thought.
For sure. Okay, before I'm downloading something, we'll share. But before, so Truth Social's down here in the United States, but I've got it from Israel. I don't know how, but here we go. Donald Trump tweeted, "I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 p.m. at the White House regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is an historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world." And this is where he said it. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you. Thoughts?
He's gotten a lot more polite with the thank you at the end.
Don't you see the tone changed?
It has shifted.
U.S. bases in the Middle East, now Iraq, that area were just placed on high alert. Israel is now seeing movement on Hezbollah and the Houthis that they're going to potentially strike Israel. The Prime Minister of Israel is getting ready to make a public statement. I may be able to get that and thank President Trump. Netanyahu and Trump are getting ready to have a phone call And Israel is saying right now, it's as long as the Ayatollah's regime stays in power, the ideology is there. This took out the nuclear sites.
That's really the next step, is like what's going to happen there.
We have a multi-phase war.
So we don't know if this is going to be worse if they have regime change, or if this is going to be the same, more of the same. I mean, it's the same question we have with Putin when we're thinking about, well, what if Putin wasn't there? Or would somebody just as bad or worse take his place? Same thing with the Ayatollahs. There could be some crazier Ayatollah types that are, but I don't know. I think they've been clamping down on their own population for the last 2 years, and this could actually be the time where you see another color revolution. And my vote would be for something really feminine.
All right, what is that?
Because the Ayatollah would hate that.
Okay.
Periwinkle.
Let me do this.
Pink. Lavender.
Okay, let me do, keep talking. I'm going to, Fox News with their breaking, and I'm not a Fox fan, but I can tell you this is what I'm getting in. I'm having to produce all this real time, so thank you for your patience.
Yeah. No, everybody knows that we're doing this in real time. So what's interesting is there's a lot of talking while you're reading.
Please,
I'm just going to talk
you're
for
helping me
bit.
a lot.
So there's a lot of talk in my feed about MAGA this and MAGA that. There's a real infighting between MAGA and the old hawkish Republicans like myself about this kind of thing. Like I'm on the side of, well, you know, if they actually do have that enriched uranium and they're building the bomb, what kind of help do you need, Israel? That's kind of where I stand on this sort of thing, right? But MAGA, they're beside themselves talking about, like, I didn't vote for this. I voted for the president of peace. Well, this might be the way that you get to peace. And if we, take a page out of this songbook with Russia, you could back Russia up real quick with this kind of thing.
Well, this is going to be a big deal in regard to Russia, and we can talk about that in just a few moments, because there are some statements that Putin made, that Peskov made, and this will affect Ukraine. This is, let's not be naive. The world just changed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, this was big.
Let's
like this whole week. From not last Thursday, but the Thursday before, when Israel first attacked, something material. It's like a tectonic shift. Like when the earthquake hits, when the plates shift under the ground, that's what's happened over the last week. It's been hard to keep up. I mean, like if you think that doing just Ukraine war news is hard, trying to keep an eye on this too, because it affects what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. Wow. So, by the way, while we're at it, while Greg's reading this, my name's Darren Gerdes. I'm just a professor who's trying to give you context in the war in Ukraine and now Israel and Iran as well. And my YouTube is at professorgerdes.com. If you're on Greg's, or if you're on mine and you don't know who Greg is, Greg and I have worked together for a year and a half or so now, trying to do this same kind of thing. We've raised lots of aid for Ukraine and that sort of thing. We keep you posted every day. His on YouTube, his handle is at Greg Terry Experience. So if you're not familiar with one or the other, please make sure that you are familiar and consider subscribing. Thank you. Go ahead, Greg. What'd you find?
Okay, so now senior Houthi official just made an official statement. His name is Hazam al-Assad. He just stated Washington will bear the consequences of this attack. See, this takes us to a lot of the warnings now of these, and the United States has been talking about it. Everybody, both sides, the world's been talking about it. Conspiracy theorists and not conspiracy theorists. The potential of sleeper cells that could be activated throughout the world that have been preparing for something of this nature.
That is one of the considerations.
We need to pay attention to that.
But it's a lot better to have these attacks after you've wiped out their capacity for nuclear weapons than before.
Okay.
What's the matter?
No, it feels good when you work 24 hours, 7, like we both do, standing for truth and freedom the best we can. And you said,
I know I'm tired.
Something you said gets confirmed. It makes you feel good. I'm bringing it to you now. Tomorrow, the Israeli Air Force and Mossad will begin their intelligence investigation with the aim of confirming the damage caused to the 3 facilities in Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. But with current estimations, with Mossad's people on the ground there now, which we know, the 3 facilities have all suffered fatal blows, and initial doubt as to whether they are even possible to be restored in the future.
When you see these underground facilities too, they're no joke. Like, I mean, they have these huge concrete underground tunnels that are spacious and cavernous and whatever. So those bunker buster bombs have to do so. You know how a bunker buster bomb works? Like it goes down and it keeps driving and driving and driving and not blowing until it drives a certain, distance and then blows up. I mean, it's pretty incredible that it can actually do what it does.
Let's keep up with what we are. Alan Fields, you never want to fight in your life for YouTuber dudes. I would never answer a comment like that, but I've spent 14 months on the front lines of Ukraine getting bombed. You're more than welcome to ride with me.
I have a black belt. I've won some fights.
Here we go. This is what Fox News was saying just minutes ago.
This is a Fox News alert. News from the President of the United States that there has been an attack inside Iran. Just moments ago, President Donald Trump putting out on Truth Social, we have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. Again, this from President Donald Trump. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Again, that's just seconds ago from President Donald Trump on Truth Social, suggesting that those B-2 bombers that perhaps were on the way may have been behind this. We'll get more details on these 3 sites that the president said has been attacked inside Iran. This comes after days of negotiations to try to get Iran to the negotiating table. The President of the United States saying it would have to be unconditional surrender, saying enrichment would have to stop. We heard from negotiations in Europe that was not being accepted by the Iranians, that they would not stop enriching uranium. There was a thought that this could go as long as 2 weeks, as the president said he would decide within 2 weeks. However, 2 days is within 2 weeks. And now word from President Donald Trump that these attacks have happened. Again, interesting that 3 sites have been struck by U.S. bombers. And this, again, we'll get more information about the exact targets and what bombs were used. We expect that the GBU-57, the bunker buster, the massive penetrator bomb, may have been one of those used. Fordow is a nuclear facility inside Iran that is roughly a half-mile deep underneath a rock mountain-like facility that has been said to be the site of a lot of the enrichment capability. Esfahan, believed to be a storage facility for enriched uranium, and Natanz, another part of the nuclear facilities. They have several throughout Iran. It has been long described as a very difficult and tedious effort to go after these nuclear sites, but the U.S., for the first time, launching an attack inside Iran. Again, the President of the United States saying all of the planes are out of Iranian airspace. The bombings do continue by the Israelis inside Iran as this back-and-forth volley between Israel and Iran has continued for some 2 weeks. We expect to hear more about this operation.
All right, he doesn't know any more than we know now, but that's what we're at. Now, I want to go to a couple of. You got a comment on that, or that's what we're covering? And we were.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. And I just want to let everybody know if they're just coming in, because people come in and out and they're here for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. That this is not a drill. This is there's no hoax. There's no drill. The U.S. just bombed 3 nuclear sites in Iran. They didn't nuke these sites. They bombed these places where nuclear material was being created. Right. So, this is happening.
There's some really good questions coming in. My mods are throwing in. I want to grab a couple of them. Elvis Presley is in the chat. Hi, Greg. A Brit living in France. You think this is possibly a plan of Putin and Trump and China?
No, I don't see anything like that.
Okay.
I don't perceive that at all. So listen, Trump sees this radically differently than the way that he sees Russia and Ukraine. Unfortunately, he doesn't see Russia and Ukraine as issue with America's core interest. He does see it with Iran, because Iran's generally saying death to America, death to Israel, right? I mean, and Iran having a nuclear weapon just changes everything in the Middle East. That would be terrible. Now, I wish you would see things more like part of our core interest with Ukraine, but he noticed the difference in the way that he handled this. And I'm not just going out of my way trying to praise Trump. I'm saying he just sees this radically differently, and he's at odds with many of his advisors, his MAGA advisors. So, okay, go ahead, Greg.
Let's do this. A couple more questions that are in the same area that I think are important. Is there an agreement existing between Russia and Iran? Will this bring Russia into the fray? So I can answer that. Yes, there is an agreement, but it's not military. It is not the same agreement that Russia has with North Korea. That is
so. This is absolutely
agreement.
Fascinating too, because what happened there was that in January, Putin was kind of upset that he didn't get an agreement that was a mutual aid pact. Like you could kind of tell it, like he wanted it to be more than it was, and the Iranians were like, we're not exactly sure that we want to do this. Now I think they're rethinking that, because they wish they had that extra helping, and if they had that extra helping, that would have been extraordinarily dangerous, because now that would have meant Iran. So my wife and kids were asking me when I was on the way back from the store after you had tagged me about, hey, we just did this, and so my wife asked me, so are we at war? Well, technically, yes, you're at a state of war whenever you do something like this. But technically, no, simultaneously, because we haven't actually declared war since 1942. It was the last time we did was, I think, Romania in something like that, in 1942 during World War II. So that's the last time we've actually done it. We fought Korea, we fought in Vietnam, we fought in Desert Storm 1 and 2. And Operation Freedom, right? So we've done that, but we hadn't declared war officially. And can Trump unilaterally do this? He just did, and yes, any president can, and he has 60 days if he wants to continue this to go to Congress and say, Congress, can you declare war by the Constitution? But he doesn't it might just be over at this point as far as what the U.S. involvement is, or it might continue. We just don't know yet.
Junior BLNX, how do you think Russia will react to this? That's $1 million question, but I'm going to show you something. And then in the similar vein, Lada Gaga 93, did Russia assist Iran in seeking nuclear weapons technology? My answer to that is absolutely 100% yes.
Yeah, I mean they have hundreds of workers in Iran.
They have thousands of workers in Iran.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm working on nuclear power plants. I mean, it's just
the majority of those nuclear power plants they're working on are down on the coast, in the Persian Gulf. I can actually show you where on that.
But Russia, while you're looking for that, Russia didn't want this to happen. I know exactly where it's at. And well, I mean, until you put it on the screen, Russia didn't want this to happen. They were trying to warn off the U.S. and say, don't do this. Peskov and Maria Zakharova and others all talking about that this should not happen. We shouldn't be violating the UN Charter, which is pretty laughable.
That's laughable for them to talk about, isn't it? Okay, so let's do this. The nuclear power plants where Russia has a lot of workers, and when I say a lot of workers, guys, I'm talking thousands, because Russia assists in building and development of technology. They're down in this area right here on the sea, on the port. But this is Isfahan to Qom. Right below Tehran is this way. This is where the 3 sites were hit. This is where Fordow is. Most of the Russians are down here. Now, do you think there's any Russians up here? Well, of course there are. But I don't have a picture of them.
How many, we don't know.
But of course there are. Russia is helping, and this will have an impact. So you talked about Peskov. Everybody listen to this, and then I'll check the latest feeds coming out of Israel or Iran. Let's do this. I think it's this.
Would it prompt any action?
Well, actually, it will lead to an action coming from inside Iran.
Let me do that again. Let me start it again. Here we go. Here we go.
If it were to happen, though, that Israel assassinated Ayatollah Ali Khamenei with US assistance, how would Russia react?
Very negatively. Very negatively. We will strongly disapprove it.
Would it prompt any action?
Well, actually, it will lead to an action coming from inside Iran. Iran's society is very well organized and very well consolidated, and it will lead to birth of extremist moods inside Iran. And those who are speaking about that, they should keep it in mind. They will open the Pandora box.
Okay. Now, I know that's about regime change, but I'm starting a narrative there for us to understand. You can begin to see the Russian viewpoint. And by the way, his English is really good.
It's almost as bad to be one of Russia's friends as it is to be their enemy. Like, if you make a deal with Russia as like, hey, we're thick as thieves. We're right. Syria, nope, we got to get out. Iran, nope, it's coming from inside Iran. We're not doing anything. So yeah, it's bad for the Iranians. It's something more is going to happen. I'm not sure what. I don't know that we can predict it, but it seems like indicators are that there could be some kind of uprising. There's going to be a split in the population of those that are angry at America and those that want to throw off the mullahs. And that's really the trick. Who's going to prevail on that?
Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is the foreign minister of Iran.
ما در این زمینه آمریکایی‌ها رو همراه و همکار رژیم صهیونیستی می‌دونیم.
Collaborators with the Zionist regime in these attacks that have been carried out against Iran.
نشانه‌های متعددی وجود داره
Numerous
مبنی بر
indications
همکاری
of cooperation between
نیروهای
the American
موجود
forces
آمریکا در
present
منطقه با
in the region of
رژیم
the Zionist
صهیونیستی.
regime.
ولی از همه اینها
But
مهمتر
more importantly, there are the
توییت‌ها و
tweets
مصاحبه‌هایی
and
هست که رئیس
interviews
جمهور
given
کشور
by the
انجام میده و
president of that
صراحتاً
country
از
where he
لفظ
explicitly
ما
uses
استفاده می‌کنه که ما این کار
phrases like we
کردیم ما
did
فلان
this or we
مثلا
did that
کار رو
action,
انجام
this must
دادیم
happen or that must
باید
happen.
این بشه
Well,
باید اون بشه
this clearly leaves no
کاملا
need
دیگه
for
احتیاج
further
به دلیل
evidence or
مدرک
proof
نداره حضور آمریکا و
of
مشارکت
America's
آمریکا
presence
در
and participation in this
این
scene.
الحمدلله
Thankfully, the
مقاومت
steadfast
جانانه‌ای
resistance
که نیروهای مسلح
of our armed
کردن
forces is
به
gradually
تدریج داره آشکار میکنه که
revealing
اون
that the assumptions that they had
فکری
were
که اینها کرده
flawed.
بودن که
The
مثلا
idea
با
they
یک سری
had
ضربات
that with a series
برق‌آسا
of lightning
میتونن
strikes they
ملت
could
ایران
force the
تسلیم کنن
Iranian
یک
nation
فکر
into
باطل
submission is a
و
false and
بیهوده‌ای
futile
هست و
notion.
لذا
However, I
فکر
believe that
میکنم
as
که
a
با
result
در اثر این مقاومت
of
یواش یواش ما
resistance over
شاهد این خواهیم
time,
بود که
we will witness countries distancing
کشورها فاصله
themselves from
بگیرن
this
از این
aggression
تجاوزی که
carried
رژیم
out by
انجام
the
داده
regime.
و
The demand for an end
تقاضا
to
برای
this
خاتمه این جنگ از
war
الان
has
شروع
already
شده و
begun
بیشتر
and will
هم
only
خواهد
grow
شد
stronger.
و این نشون
This
دهنده این
demonstrates
هست که
how
مقاومت
impactful
مردم
the
ایران
resistance
چقدر
of the
موثر
Ukrainian
بوده و
people
موثر خواهد
Iranian people has been. So there he is talking about it. I'm just building the story for you guys.
He's talking about it like he's at the St. Peter's Economic Forum, and they're saying the kind of crazy stuff that Putin was saying yesterday, and everybody's clapping. I don't think most of the world's like that. I think there's a good portion of the world that is aligned with Russia, like much of Africa, and some of the Middle East, and maybe China and Brazil, that kind of thing. But much of the world is like also like, they're kind of crazy over there in Russia. They're kind of crazy over there in Iran, and nobody's going to be picking up their slack for them.
Let's talk about some of that craziness now, and then I'll cue up the next video.
And, hold on. Even the Middle East, let me say one more thing.
Please,
even the Middle East is fractured and split. Like, they're not crazy about Israel doing it, but the Saudis are relieved by that, believe it or not, because the Saudis know that if Iran had a nuke, then the Saudis would be in danger, because those two countries are at each other all the time. So as Shia and Sunni split. So 80% of the world is Sunni, not Shia. So Iran's kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the Islamic family, right? It's a very small fraction comparatively, and I don't think there's a lot of love lost between most of the Sunni world and Iran, which aren't even Arabs. They're Persian, and they make a distinction between that. We see it as this like big monolith, and it's really not.
Let's go to, we have a tweet from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Command. I can't read it, but I've got it translated underneath of it, so I know what it says. Right here. This came out at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 minutes ago. And that says in Farsi, "The war has begun." That's it.
Well, okay, so that's how they're dealing with it.
The war has begun. Also, Iranians are now claiming on their media that we managed to evacuate the nuclear facilities and transfer the uranium. No radiation is expected. We have our uranium. How about that for saber rattling? Right now, there is a mass evacuation from the city of Qom near Fordow. Okay, so this is interesting. This is interesting. This is all coming from Israel. Every piece of information I'm giving you right now is IDF and Mossad, and I've never shared one of these messages on a live stream that has not turned out to be accurate. I trust this person.
Wow.
Never. I trust this person. Okay? Because we always want to be accurate. But right now, mass evacuation is taking place in Qom. And I'll show that to you guys. We'll show it to you right here. We go back to the same map. Oh, this is perfect. Zoom. Tehran. And I know that Ted Cruz couldn't answer the question, but I wish Tucker would have asked me, because there are 10 million people living in Tehran, 17 million in the metro, and 91.6 million people in the nation of Iran. I could have answered it. But Qom is this city right here, mass evacuation going on, and the nuclear strike was, the bunker buster strike on the uranium enrichment facilities were Natanz, Isfahan, and Fordow. Okay, right here. This is the whole line of them, and people are rolling out of Qom. How many people live in Qom? I don't know. This city is the largest in the Central District. 1.2 million people. It's not a village. It's a big city. Okay. So Qom right now, Qom, however you pronounce it, is definitely not calm, C-A-L-M. So let's go back.
It's like Tehran. Tehran has about 9-point-something million, 5 million had already left the city this afternoon, according to whatever news accounts I was reading. So it's the same kind of thing. I mean, if you live near Fordow, you know you need to get out of Dodge. So Anyway, by the way, we're reading your chats as well. Like I'm reading these,
Yeah.
and we're trying to steer the conversation to answer your questions, even if I don't say yes, Robin, or yes, Richard, or yes, Michael. We're still trying to answer what we can answer along the way.
And
What else you got, Greg?
Well, I can tell you right now, definitely residents are evacuating Qom. That's confirmed. So I don't read anything into that, okay? But I imagine the earth was shaking in this region. Okay. And I see the question in there about the bombs. I've got the information on those coming up, but we do have a new tweet from Donald Trump a couple of minutes ago, right here. That's it. American flag. So I don't know what's going to unfold from this.
I don't think anybody can actually honestly predict what's going to happen.
Okay, let me load this up. Keep talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of you are making asking questions about things like, well, what if they did this in Crimea, or other questions like that. It's way too early to jump into that kind of thing and try to say, well, this is what would happen here, or now Trump's going to do this to the Russians, or I don't think you can extrapolate. This is a different scenario in Trump's mind. He is very hawkish here. He is very almost pacifistic or isolationist when it comes to Ukraine, which is unfortunate. But like he's dealt with this very differently. Was it yesterday, Greg, or the day, or just today, that I was calling him Fortnite?
Yeah,
right.
Just
for the 2 weeks,
hours
2 weeks,
hours ago.
Yeah, I guess it was this afternoon. Like with the 2 week, we'll know in 2 weeks. We'll know in 2 weeks. It's like somebody should start calling him Fortnite, President Fortnite, which is a fine British word for 2 weeks. And then he just surprised us all with this today. But you could feel that something was about to happen.
Okay, I'm going to show you guys something now, and I try to bring as much benefit as I can to you from stuff maybe we can't see anywhere else. But Iranian TV right now is live, of course, and they have put out a message to the President of the United States. So I don't have time to run this through translation, okay? But it's just about an 18-second clip. It is the television commentator stating, Mr. President Donald J. Trump, you have started this, but now we will finish this. Saber rattling.
That's some tough talk.
They're showing the map of the bases of the United States. So here we go.
من هدف مشروع ایران هستند. آمریکا با این اقدامی که انجام داد علیه ایران و حریم هوایی ایران را شکست و جنایت علیه ایران انجام داد دیگه جایی در منطقه
Of course, unless you understand Farsi, you're not getting much out of that, but that is what's on.
I got something out of it. They're threatening servicemen that are there, and they better buckle up. They can hit some of these bases. If they do, they can be expecting greater retaliation for that as well. So it's all about, do you want to escalate, or do you want to, U.S. enters war with Iran. That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
We are in a state of war with Iran. Now, whether we have proclaimed that officially, or like Congress hasn't announced it or anything, but that is what has happened. A state of war exists between the United States and Iran.
As I was showing
how long
you guys
or short, we just don't know.
On the Google map and drawing it for you, but here it is: Fordo, Natanz, Isfahan. That little line there I was sharing with you, and the city of Qom is right there, right near Fordo. And they're rolling out of there. I don't know if there's a reason other than fear, or there's something else going on. The same Iranian broadcasting company is stating that they knew this strike was coming, and they did move all of their uranium enriched out.
Yeah, I don't. That's that seems suspicious that they would have been able to. But
ready?
Nonetheless, I mean, that is possible.
Okay, guys, I've got the video. I knew I'd get it. Let's do this.
Wow. Well, that's quite a look. Whoa.
I'll give it to you again, Fordo.
Well, there's tomorrow's headline, that's for sure.
I trust my guys. The bombs did their job. Israel is much safer now. Israel is stating that Donald Trump has said. Okay. Coming in from Iran right now, residents in the city of Qom have been ordered to evacuate due to radioactive numbers from Fordo.
Wow.
Okay, now, that could be propaganda. That could be emotion, trying to do something to move people's emotions about it. Some city of 1 million people, or it could be real.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's going to be really bad if that's. Wow. By the way, again, I'm looking at on the live stream, average view duration is telling me that we've been on this for, I don't know, since I've been here since 8:20, and it's 9:02. So some people that have come are new to this. This is not a drill. This is not a fake. It's not the War of the Worlds. The U.S. did hit nuclear sites, 3 nuclear sites in Iran. So we are legitimately in a state of war, whether we've declared it or not, with the nation of Iran.
Can you explain that again? Because we have
now.
So many international viewers, and you do have a PhD, and your research was in the Constitution of the United States for that. So
yes,
what does that mean? You said we're in war, but we haven't declared war for so many new people that are joining in.
Yeah, so based on the rules of war, international law, at this point, we would be in a state of war. Just like Putin says this is a special military operations. It's not a real, no, it's a war. That's by definition of war. Doesn't matter if you declared it or not, because you declared it by your action. So that's what has happened here legitimately.
A declaration of war, though, that goes through Congress.
Yeah, it goes through Congress, but you'd have the commander in chief would have 60 days by the Constitution if he's going to declare one, for the Constitution, for the Congress to call him forward and say, okay, yes, we are approving this and we're going to pay for this in the budget and whatever else. But a state of war exists in as far as the rules of the international order are concerned, that like rules that pre-exist the United States and pre-exist many countries. Like this is how it works. So this is big. And if there is real radioactive something there, that's going to be pretty significant as well. I want to see them stop Iran from doing this. The last time they did this, well, the last time the Israelis did this was in 1980. I want to say 81. I might be off by a year. 1981, I think they did it to the Iraqis, and at that time, the UN was all upset with Israel for doing it. But I mean, they put it back 44 years, so that's not too shabby. So
let's do this because there's some seriously good questions in here. The news was out that Iran shot down 2 Israeli planes today. That did not happen, Miro.
No, not shot down. There wasn't shot down. There were things on the tarmac that were hit.
No, they were asking were the Israeli planes shot out of the air.
Oh, okay. No. Israel hit some planes on a tarmac. There were F-14s.
F-14s, but Israel did not have planes shot out of the air.
Not to my knowledge.
Reptile, does that mean Iran might have a nuke to show or use? Well, hopefully not.
This is the dilemma, though, right? Iran didn't quite get to the place that they needed to in order, like they kept stalling and stalling and stalling and stalling in these meetings. They're going to have another meeting. They're going to talk about it, and then they'll meet in another month or so or whatever. They're trying to get to a nuke. If they had a nuke, they don't have to have the meetings anymore, and they can hold it over whoever their enemies are, whether they define their enemies as Israel or Saudi or whoever. And so they're in the worst possible position, and they just had whatever they had to enrich it blown up. Now, if they got some stuff out, perhaps they could create a dirty bomb, but they couldn't do what they were trying to do before at the scale they were trying to do it.
Wayne Webrovetsky, yes, it was the GBU 57 30,000-pound bombs. I think what I was reading, it was saying it was like 14 tons, but it's, yes, you're correct. 30,000 bombs, and I have the numbers that were dropped from Israel saying, I'll give that to you in a second. Lots of questions in the chat about, okay, this is going to really be a game changer for Russia. And it's not only going to be a game changer for Russia, it's going to be a game changer for China. It's going to be a game changer for North Korea, because all three of these leaders were warning the United States not to do this.
That's right. It's bigger for China than it is for Russia. Trump and Putin have been way too chummy. Trump and Xi have not. And if Trump was willing to do this here, Xi has to be on notice now. What's he going to do if we try to take Taiwan? So I think even though what he's done with Ukraine has been lackluster, it's not been enough. It's been insufficient, certainly. It's been useful in sending that message to Xi.
Israel is stating that the United States used 30 GBU 57 bombs on just Fordow.
30 on it.
30.
That's not playing games.
That is 420 tons of explosives dropped on the facility in Fordo. Adam. Come here.
Holy cow.
Come here. This is my son, guys. And when he comes on camera sometimes, but what did you ask me when I told you this happened?
Am I getting drafted?
Am I getting drafted? So no, you're not getting drafted. But this is what happens, guys, and it's the reality. The reality. How much do those cost a piece? I don't know, but I know one thing: it was millions of millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
How much does it cost not to do it, though? That's the calculus. Right, you have to look at both sides of that coin, and if Iran got a nuclear weapon, that would be very, very bad.
I want to bring up. I've got some more info in there to give you guys, but I want to bring a Putin statement up while we're talking about this. Let me get it here. Let's change this.
So. A lot of you have questions about what's Putin going to do, what's Xi going to do, what are the Europeans going to say, that sort of thing. We can't answer those kind of questions. Like it's all speculation at this point of what's going to happen now. The best we can tell you is what has happened. And thank you for listening to us and being here again. Greg just popped in my YouTube address at Professor-Gerdes, and he's trying to get his own in there, which is at Greg Terry. Yeah, but he's like trying to monitor everything that's going on.
I've got so much going on here.
Trying to answer my questions. So yeah. So while he's popping that in, go ahead and pop that in. So in the meantime, I'm going to tell him something here.
Okay.
So he is at Greg Terry Experience. So if you're not familiar with his page or his channel, please go over to at Greg Terry Experience if you're on mine, or vice versa, so that you can get these information updates regularly. We both talk about Ukraine and Russia, and we both pivoted to talk also about what's going on in Iran and Israel, because this is all connected. The reality is, while it's not connected like legally by treaties, they're helping each other. Like Iran is helping Russia. Russia has been aid and military and moral support for Iran and Iran for the Houthis, and the Houthis have been attacking U.S. and other interests in the Gulf. And so it's all connected, guys. But I don't mean that in the conspiracy theory kind of way either, but there's like, if you care about what's going on in Ukraine, which most of our audience does, then you want to care about what's going on here as well, even if fundamentally, and I know there's a split, some of you that would be pro-Israel and some of you that would not be pro-Israel. That's fine. Degrading Iran is good for Ukraine, and that's okay.
So
at
many
any rate,
people
go ahead.
are asking about the connections and how everything's connected. I was able to pull Putin's statement back up on Iran. Let's take a listen at this, and then I'll have some more information coming in here. This is clip 25, and we'll go right.
We support Iran in its struggle for its legitimate interests, including the interests with respect to peaceful uses of the atomic energy. And this has always been our position. This is our principled position, including in this conflict. It has never changed. And those who claim that we should have done more, well, what more? You know, starting some military operations or what? I mean, we already engage in military operations against those who we consider to be opponents of the ideas and concepts we promote.
He ain't helping them. He's not going to do it.
And those who create threats for the Russian Federation. And those are basically the same forces, be it in Iran or, in the case of Russia, somewhere hiding behind the scene. You know, these are not those who engage in actual combat, but we have some obligations, and we uphold Iran's right to peaceful nuclear energy, and not just with sheer words.
There you go. That was the last part I wanted you to hear. We support Iran's right to peaceful nuclear energy, and it's not just sheer words. So what will come from that? I don't know.
And it's not peaceful energy either. It's something more. That's precisely the problem. If you have this enriched uranium that is almost military grade, that's way beyond what you need for nuclear energy purposes, something else shady looks like it's going down. Now, this is just from what I've read. I don't have like actual intelligence from, official sources. I'm just reading what is published by like legitimate authoritative newspapers, right? But if that's the case,
will China potentially take this opportunity to move on Taiwan?
I don't think so. I don't think he made that. So, okay. So here's the calculus. William Spaniel was just talking about this. I put a video out today again, looking at like what William Spaniel had done. He's a great guy. He's a political scientist at University of Pittsburgh, I think. And he was talking about, well, if the U.S. is bogged down in Iran, that would be something that would make the calculus for Xi to move on Taiwan much more likely or much more incentivized, right? I don't think today, like maybe we'll get into a place where the U.S. is bogged down in a hot war with Iran, and that's ongoing for a long period of time, in which case I think that's correct. That might make it more likely. But today was a sign to Xi to go, maybe this isn't a good idea. So
secondary sources right now confirming in Iran that there is active radio levels that they've had to evacuate Qom. It's a second confirmation. Now this is coming from Iran through Israel. I'm getting it, and I'm telling you, but it's the second one now that has come. Yeah. So here we have now more information coming in. Think about it logically, and this is what Israel is saying right now. So Benjamin Netanyahu, when he had the conversation with Trump, he knew this was going down. But Netanyahu has been in his Security Council meeting for now pushing 5 hours. So they went into their bunker situation and probably were watching real time or understanding, getting the intelligence real time. Netanyahu has spoken to Trump, and Israel is now saying what is going to happen going forward is the Ayatollah will have two options and two only: surrender now and survive, respond and be toppled. That's logical.
Well, you know,
think about
there's something that seems probable about that sort of thing, and the reason is because they've been clamping down on their own population, and particularly the women in Iran have had enough of this. After the headscarf or headdress kind of thing, where somebody was, it's been quite a scene for a year and a half now in Iran. And so there, other than, if it wasn't for that, I would say the likelihood seems small that they would be toppled, but I think there's a lot of internal resistance that it makes it really dangerous for the Iranians right now.
Information coming out now that the United States is saying, no, we didn't launch 30. We only needed 6 bunker busting bombs on the Fordo facility. In addition to that, we launched 30 Tomahawk missiles from submarines located 400 miles, and they were used on Natanz and Isfahan.
Okay, so it was bunker busters in one, Tomahawks in the other.
Bunker busters at Fordo, and a combination of Tomahawk missiles launched on Natanz and Isfahan from nuclear submarines.
So those were the lesser sites. Fordo was really the big one.
Fordo was the big one. Fordo was the one where all the diagrams of how deep it was under the ground built into the mountain. They can never touch it.
Right.
Another confirmation coming in that Fordo is now completely out of action, completely destroyed. This may be why. Oh my goodness. Okay. 50% of the Israeli Air Force is now in the air patrolling the skies of Israel and Iraq, prepared for a retaliatory attack. They're in the air, and the other 50% are on the ground ready to go. I trust this 100%. They'll rotate in and out.
That's smart, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got to know that it's coming. Wow. It's weird doing this, knowing that this is a probably one of the biggest events perhaps in our lifetime. Like this is a significant event. Like, where were you when the Challenger or 9/11 or whatever? Like this is a big event. This is shifting things in the world order.
And we're doing our very best. You know, this is not political. We're just reporting straight facts to you of what's unfolding. As Prof says, this is going to be one of those moments that we remember in our life. But I can tell you, Speaker Mike Johnson now stating the military operations in Iran should serve as a clear reminder to our adversaries and allies that President Trump means what he says. The president gave Iran's leader every opportunity to make a deal, but Iran refused to commit to nuclear disarmament agreement. President Trump has been consistent and clear that a nuclear-armed Iran will not be tolerated. That posture has now been enforced with strength, precision, and clarity. The president's decisive action prevents the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism, which chants death to America, from obtaining the most lethal weapon on this planet. This is America First policy in action. God bless our brave men and women in uniform.
Thank you. I'm so glad he said that. Now, I would also say that America First policy should be defending Ukraine from Russia aggression as well. And I wish they could get to see that.
Agreed.
This is America First. That's right. America First shouldn't mean America only. Like it's not us, right?
100%
because it could
agree.
become us. We have to, like, this is in our core interest. And yeah, okay.
Yes, this benefits America by helping, by fighting for, standing with, fighting for, protecting, equipping Ukraine, making sure that Iran can't get a nuclear weapon. They're the largest state sponsor of terrorism around the globe. Yeah, this is right.
Yeah. So somebody was asking about your sources, Greg, in here, and Greg's real.
I have
tied
a friend
in
Mossad. And I have a friend who is in the politics in Israel.
So he's
I
real
work in
tied
Israel,
in,
guys.
and he's tied in, especially in Ukraine, having been in Ukraine for 28 years, working back and forth. When you listen to me, I'm only talking about and analyzing open news sources that I can prove. So you'll see me highlight things all the time and talk about what's in the major articles and that sort of thing. But I do get tipped off, and then I look for those articles.
Yeah, I help, but I'm I don't mind telling. I'm over 50 years old, but in the younger side of the 50s, and I work in 38 nations, but never knew it would develop into what I'm doing now. A lot of crazy nations in Africa and Pakistan and Israel and Middle East and Ukraine and Russia and all of those places, and it, brought me to such a time as this. Here is Yoav Gallant, and unfortunately I'll have to show you the response from Jackson Hinkle, because it uses language.
Was it his heart with the Ayatollah? I showed that today.
No. This is happening right now. No, this is happening right now, and this is not language I use or show, but I will. You'll see this one. Yoav Gallant, President Trump took a bold decision for the United States, for Israel, for all of humanity. The world is now a safer place. Israeli flag, salute American flag. And then you can see Jackson Hinkle's response, F you Zionist terrorists.
That guy has never met an authoritarian leader that he didn't like. It's fascinating. It's actually there's like something wrong there. I don't even know how to describe it. Like he was all in for Putin, and then when October 7th hit, he was all in for like slaughter those Jews and that sort of. I was like, what? I mean, I understand sticking up for the people of Gaza, like not necessarily the terrorists, but like the innocent people there. I get that, and I understand like the Israeli position even better, right? But he just goes all in on the wrong side, like consistently. It's like his compass points the wrong direction. He and Scott Ritter, Doug McGregor, yeah. Okay, what else you got?
I can tell you right now that Iran, as the attack was going on, Iran was putting out that they lost all radio communication, all GPS, and all cellular went down for the time of the attack. The United States electronic warfare silenced their entire country.
Well, they silenced their own country about a week ago.
They did on the internet, but
last week, and they were just starting to get the internet back, which was a terrible time to do that. And the reason this is one of the reasons why I say like toppling the regime is actually possible, because they silenced the internet so that like people wouldn't rise up against the mullahs. Right, like that was their own country leaders did that, and so people couldn't like communicate and figure out is Aunt so and so okay.
Iran just putting out a statement now that we are not responsible for any American military that lose their life as a result of this attack. Donald Trump killed you.
That's illegitimate.
They're pushing it.
I mean, by any means.
They're pushing it. I'm giving you real time.
If the Americans said that, it would still be wrong. That's not a legitimate way to think. If you're going to keep fighting, you're going to keep fighting, and it's not. Yeah. Thank you for all the comments, by the way. We're reading them, and we're trying to steer the conversation to answer it without saying, hey, John, hey, NAFO guy, hey, this, hey, Evolved Monkey. I actually have somebody in my thread called Evolved Monkey. We have no response from Russia yet. And I remind, it is 4:30 a.m. in Moscow. I will tell you this, though. Anytime that something goes down, like a large strike that Russia will do against Ukraine, or something is like in the air, all the Ukrainian analysts I follow, they will document that Putin and his motorcade is rushing to the Kremlin in the middle of the night. It just happens all the time, guys, on this stuff I watch. And there's been no motorcade rushing. There's been no. Well, He's not doing anything. He just told
Zero.
you in that meeting. He just told you, like, well, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to go to war? We're already at war with, So Russia doesn't intend to do anything to help Iran. That's the signals that Peskov sent. That's the signals that Putin sent. So I wouldn't worry about it. That's also weird doing that motorcade thing. Like only Putin can have the answers. What will Putin say? Are we going to get the guidance that we need?
All right, guys, I've got breaking news coming in from Iran.
Okay.
Just give me a minute to load it up. Keep talking there, Prof.
Okay, go ahead.
I need you to say something to fill the dead air so I can put this in.
Oh, something to fill the dead air. Yeah. I mean, so what I'm seeing as this picture unfolds is that Russia has been degraded, but Russia can't help the degraded country that was theoretically its ally, but didn't actually sign an agreement to have military support. And I think Putin is actually probably laughing at it right now because he seemed a little hurt about it back in January that they weren't going to sign on to something like what was going on with North Korea. And so
let's do this.
Maybe he's smiling about it.
I've got it loaded. I got another clip. Actually have subtitles on this one. You guys saw the explosion at Fordow, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
تنها بخشی که در
Only
سایت
part
هسته‌ای
damaged
فورد
at the Fordow
آسیب دیده
nuclear
این
site
تونل‌های
was the
ورودی و
entry and
خروجی
exit
بودن
tunnels,
و
and the
آسیبی به خود
facilities themselves
تأسیسات
were not harmed. So that just came in from Israel. It's so good. I'll play it again.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh so hard.
I don't mean to laugh either, but you got to have a little.
It's like Baghdad Bob.
Listen, here it is again, guys. This is real. This is not AI. This came directly to me from Israel. They just put the little subs on it there.
تنها بخشی که در سایت هسته‌ای فورد آسیب دیده این تونل‌های ورودی و خروجی بودن و آسیبی به خود تأسیسات
were not harmed. So there you have it. I'm trying to give you everything I can give you that's coming in. We are 33 minutes away from President Trump addressing the nation.
You remember Baghdad Bob?
No, I do not.
Oh, just Google him. Go to a Google screen, just type in Baghdad Bob, pull him up. Back in the Gulf War, there was this guy that was the press secretary. He was like the Dmitry Peskov of Iraq. And he got the moniker Baghdad Bob. You'd see things blowing up in the distance, and he's saying, "No, there's nothing to see here. It's completely peaceful. No worries." Right?
This guy.
It was just so insane because he would say things that you could tell were not true, and he'd be saying it with a straight face. Like, I mean, that's what that reminded me of. Anyway, yeah. I mean, so they're going to put out a bunch of nonsense, but that explosion didn't lie. I mean, you have 30 bunker busters. It's probably going to do some damage.
3/4 of them so far, and there is.
I think you're referring back to.
That's something.
Okay, that's Baghdad Bob, but I think this is what you're pulling out your old knowledge here. I need to get this ready anyway because we're going to watch President Trump address here. Let me do this.
Yeah, somebody put authoritarians are clowns, so it's to be expected. That's right. They really do seem to think that people are stupid. Like they can say something. Who are you going to believe, me? You or me or your lying eyes? And like Putin the other day talking about how he hit only military objects. When every Western journalist could go right there and see with their own eyes that no, this was people peacefully sleeping in their apartments that were just hit. It was not a military object. So authoritarians really do think that we're stupid like that. So.
To the center of the city.
This guy?
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm telling you, this is not true. The operations are still ongoing, and I can tell you, and you can record it on me that I have said that, they are beginning to commit suicide at the forces.
I don't want people to misunderstand. Prof was giving us a history lesson there about Baghdad
yeah, it's
Bob,
a trip down
because
memory
we've been
lane
sharing
to see Baghdad Bob.
some Iranian news in regard to this. So let me get back up because I'm sitting here waiting for President Trump's address, and we'll share that together. And then we'll probably be done, because now we wait for the world to wake up on that side of the globe, and we see what unfolds. Let me go back to...
Hold on. I got to point something out. Wasn't claiming that uranium out of there, and essentially an admission that their facilities got annihilated.
100%.
It was also also an admission that they were enriching that uranium as well. Like, this isn't the brain trust here.
No, it's not. But that is why this needed to happen.
Yeah.
This is why. And no matter what your perspective is, I've got another image.
So
okay,
I had another viewer that said the world's a safer place now than it was just a few hours ago. That's right. That's exactly right. Even if you have to go through some problems in the immediate days, it's still safer than that being a day closer to Iran having a nuclear weapon. That would have just been horrible.
Here you go. Different angle.
Wow. That is going to be the headline tomorrow. Wow.
Now, just remember, only the entrance and the exit doors were damaged.
Yeah. Well, those doors weren't made of the finest stuff to begin with. They must have imported it from America.
Pentagon has now confirmed that the strike happened. So,
okay.
I mean, they're confirming it after Donald Trump confirmed it in video
that,
and everybody else in the world. Okay, this is interesting, guys. This is interesting. So this is coming out of Israel, and this is actually showing, this is showing ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Right now, all the tankers are trying to get out past.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, so this is actually not airplanes. This is ships, and they're showing it right now. It's below Bandar Abbas. This is where the Strait of Hormuz, and they're trying to get out. Just interesting stuff that's coming through, because when you begin to think about it, you know, what could Iran do? They can mine the Strait of Hormuz. They do have missile capability. Good luck probably hitting Israel tonight. They're ready for it. Could they
pull up another Google page and type in plane tracker real time, and you'll see flight whatever over Iran. I just pulled it up. Flight radar 24 is the thing. Just Google what I told you. Plane traffic real time.
Oh yeah, I know it.
And show that screen.
All right, coming up. And I can tell you while I'm bringing this in that Israeli atomic Iranian atomic agency, not international, Iranian, getting ready to make a statement.
There's any of them left?
Maybe it's their commission, their oversight. So of course this is United States, guys.
Yeah, pull over.
Yeah, let me go over.
And you'll see this. Just look for the big hole. There it is.
Well, you know what's interesting, and I'll leave it at this zoom. So this is the outline of Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Syria, and southern Turkey. Additionally, this is, we need to pay attention to, is Ukraine and Belarus. So you can see the two dead zones of air traffic.
Yep.
Very, very interesting. And I mean nothing in the air.
Well, would you want to be in the air somewhere over Iran,
No,
Syria,
I would not.
Jordan right now? I think that would be a fool's errand, right?
national security of the United States representative, I don't know which one, just making some statements, and I'm not going to play it on Fox, how much deception the United States and Israel has been using together for the last 3 weeks to bring this operation to this point. The B-2 stealth bombers were used.
It all plays out.
This is interesting. And guys, we are getting close to Trump speaking. And I want to get to the comments. I've got some more good questions in there. Let me do this.
Yeah, if you have really burning questions, put it in the chat. We'll see what we can do to answer. We're trying to be as judicious as possible and not get off track, because a lot of the questions are off track. Like, well, Putin's going to nuke Ukraine now or something silly like that. Okay. Okay, somebody just said to get a better hobby because we're too old for streaming.
Too old for streaming? Come on. Don't do that to me.
Yeah.
We're young.
You know, what you don't realize is that we're spring chickens. Well, at least for my audience. My audience is mostly older than me. So I'm about sucking my thumb compared to my audience, which is more mature than I am. I'm 52, so.
Prof and I are the same age, guys. Yes, I look younger. Okay, here. Richard Walter asking a question. Do you really think there could be a possibility of sleeper cells in the U.S. that could do something?
Sure, that's possible.
Troy Shoemaker, Greg, how do you see this affecting the war in Ukraine? We've talked about this, guys. I would assume the price of oil will go up.
I can't imagine it wouldn't.
This will benefit Vladimir Putin's machine, at least temporarily. But to be completely transparent, I do not know what is going to come out of Vladimir Putin, Dmitry Peskov, or Sergei Lavrov's mouth tomorrow. Go
ahead.
And you just went through the chat right now, Joshua Risen, and I just happened to look down and see it over here. If this unfolds and Russians were killed, that could be a game changer.
So I had somebody commenting that Gerdes makes me sick, gloating when people died. No, I'm not gloating about people's death. I am happy that it's less likely that the Iranians will be able to hold a nuclear weapon over other populations. And when what we've seen from when a country has nuclear weapons like Russia, it's not just that they use a nuclear weapon, but they feel free to use conventional weapons because they have nuclear weapons as a backup. So I'm happy about less people potentially dying because this weapon is off the table now. So that's what I'm happy about. So, I mean, you can take it how you like, but I think this was a good day that this is no longer on the table for the Iranians.
Well, let's talk very plainly for a second. Let's talk very plainly for a second. I just showed you a video clip minutes ago of Vladimir Putin standing with Iran. Mm-hmm. Now, he may not do anything, but Russians are there, they're helping, and I'm going to tell you, Russians every day are killing Ukrainians.
That's right.
Every day. Innocent civilians. And no, we haven't put boots on the ground. No, we haven't done other things. The sanctions in general are not effective against Putin, but this today could be a game changer to stop death in Ukraine in a roundabout way.
It's yet to see how it'll work out.
We have to see how it.
Step.
Do you realize the United States just put B-2 bombers in the air and leveled Fordow, and we launched 30 Tomahawk missiles from submarines and took out 2 other nuclear enrichment facilities. And we completely shut down the entire nation's ability to communicate, send signals, do anything. And it was done, and the planes were out of the air before anybody in the world knew it happened.
Yeah. So,
this can be positive for Ukraine.
Yeah. More to the point with that, there's one of 2 things going on in Iran that they knew where to hit too. Either there's rampant corruption, and there is, and it's a very corrupt society. They're able, Mossad is able to bribe them. Like, what was it about Mossad the other day? Like, we hit the Mossad headquarters. Don't worry, we're not there.
Yeah, I shared that. Iran tweeted that they had hit the Mossad headquarters. Mossad tweeted back in response and said, "Great job. We're not there. We're in Iran."
Yeah. Right. So there's either corruption causing that, or there's a population who is suffering under the mullahs that because they're suffering are willing to provide intelligence. So they know where these sites are, what needed to be hit. And so that was pretty awesome that they had that intelligence to be able to go in there. And so, yeah, I feel very good about what has actually transpired, that they have been able to hit those things that they needed. If nothing else, it retarded the progress of getting a nuclear weapon and put Iran on notice if they have it anywhere else. Like, maybe this isn't the greatest idea, or maybe, if we were found out with this, we're going to get targeted too. So go ahead. What do you got?
Well, I see Linda H in here, longtime supporter of Ukraine. Thank you. She goes, I just don't see it, but I hope.
Just don't see what?
I'm talking about the help for Ukraine. She's a huge Ukraine supporter.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, seeing the positive for Ukraine here. The short term could be negative. It can affect things that can benefit Putin and Russia, but in the long term.
So is that Linda?
Yeah, Linda H. Or the midterm.
Linda, don't worry about the positive for Ukraine. Look for the negative for Russia. Because it's in Technicolor. It's really bad for Russia. What this might not have helped Ukraine, but it helped Ukraine indirectly by significantly degrading one of Russia's key allies who supplies the Shaheeds. Like, the general that supplied the Shaheeds was just killed last week. The one that was originally like making the connection between Russia and Iran and selling them that. So like that's a good thing for Ukraine that Iran's degraded.
They're still talking. This is crazy. Okay, this is going to be good. Let me load this one up.
Okay.
This absolutely confirms the madness.
I'm just reviewing. I'm looking through the. Oh, you know what? We're gonna have to. I mean, we're getting close to 10 o'clock. We're gonna have to pull up Trump.
I've got it.
Trump when he starts speaking as well.
I've got it.
I wasn't planning on being on this long, but I mean,
no,
this is some important stuff.
No, we're gonna go through that and get thoughts about it, and then
on 9/11, I was in my classroom and I walked out, and somebody else was teaching in my class, and there was a TV in there, and somebody grabbed me and said, "Hey, you've got to see this." And I saw one of the Twin Towers on fire, and I immediately turned on my heels, went right back to my classroom, like interrupted the other teacher that was talking and said, put the TV on, said, "No, we've got to see this. This is important." And then I spent the rest of the night trying to figure out like what happened, who was it, why did they do this? So I was getting a hold of a friend that was that had been stationed over overseas and had a lot of intel about what was going on, and trying to interpret this in real time is really difficult. We won't get everything right, but we're trying to help you understand what we really can understand, and then separate that from what is speculation, because speculation needs to be set to the side for right now. And here's what we know: this was hit. The U.S. did it. They hit it with 30 of these bombs that are 30,000, that sort of thing. Hit the other thing with Tomahawks. These are the established facts. Beyond that, what will happen later? What will the reaction of Putin be? What will the reaction of the mullahs be? Are we sucked into a war? All speculation. Just set it aside for now, and we got to be careful and be clear to separate.
Let's go to this. I've got President Trump when he comes on ready to roll. Let's go to this. Once again,
که چه موضوعی بوده، ولی اگر حرف ترامپ هم درست باشه ضربه چندانی خورده نشده، به خاطر اینکه عملاً در اونجا مدتی پیش مواد تخلیه شده. ببینید نتنز در نزدیکی کاشان قرار داره و در اینجاش که اسم سایتش سایت شهید احمدی روشن هست، یک کار تحقیقاتی و نسل اول سانتریفیوژ ها در اونجا کار گذاشته شده بود.
So they tell the world themselves, yeah, we got all the good stuff, but we're moving it around.
Yeah, so to that viewer's point, they're just admitting right now that yes, we have done this stuff. Yes, we are doing this stuff. And even if they're lying about moving it, then like maybe they were, maybe they didn't. They're still pantsing themselves on the world stage, which I find fascinating. Like they don't even see that that's what they're doing. I've wondered for a long time, like, what if we couldn't lie, Greg? Like, what if human beings didn't have the capacity to lie? Wouldn't that be fascinating? And they just had to tell the truth. Movies would be insanely boring. World politics would be very simple. So, but this is where we are.
U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, and I won't play it now. I'm watching over here. We're coming up on Trump speaking. Has threatened Iran to not retaliate on any U.S. asset in the region. And CBS, they're coming out and saying that the United States has communicated diplomatically with Iran to inform it that the strikes were the plan of the United States, not the plan of Israel. And the United States at this point is not seeking regime change. And that goes back to what was coming in from Israel. You're going to have...
And that's what Trump said in his tweet the other day, too. Well, we're not seeking to kill you yet. Right? Talking to the Ayatollah, like, don't do it. Don't push us to that.
I have...
hey, by the way...
I've got Netanyahu. Keep talking, and I'll load up Netanyahu. I've got his statement.
While he's doing that, I want to show you this because I want to brag on my daughter who got this for me for my birthday. What do you think?
I like it.
Real leaders don't need a suit. Oh, I got to move that. There you go.
No, just a black T-shirt. And there you go. That's a nice T-shirt, man.
Yeah. It's good taste. Okay, right. So at any rate,
keep talking. I've got Netanyahu. I'll play that. Let me just get it loaded up here.
Somebody's asking about the bots over in my feed. I don't know if they're bots or they're people that are isolationist MAGA type or pro-Russian people, not just necessarily bots, but I'm a free speech guy. They can say what they like. I mean, until they're abusive to someone, and then I will remove them. So, but I'm all about free speech. You can criticize me all day. I showed you where somebody was saying, "Hey, Gerdes, he's laughing at them." I'm not, but you can say what you want. Go ahead.
All right.
Put in the comments.
Netanyahu. Let me go to Netanyahu.
Go ahead.
And here we go, guys. And we are about 10 minutes from Trump. Here's
10 minutes
Netanyahu.
out. Don't go anywhere.
No.
10 minutes, you'll hear what Trump had to say.
Here is Netanyahu, just minutes ago.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
Yeah,
so there you have it.
The world's a safer place. That's undoubtedly so, right? I mean, so when Trump was just complaining about not getting a peace prize, he kind of ought to get some kind of at least consolation prize for making the world safer tonight with those three things. Now we'll see how it plays out.
Don't put the cart ahead of the horse.
No. It's safer. It's safer tonight than it was yesterday. I'm not saying he's going to get a peace prize for that. I'm saying he deserves some kind of recognition for having, really stepped up and done what needed to be done here.
All right, let me ask you the big question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you surprised the United States did this?
No. I could see this coming. Like I said, like I was just saying, the very last video I put out, and I screwed up the some of the sound in it, but the very last video, I was like, man, you can feel it in the air. There's something about to go. Like the reason that you're watching this video now is it's even entitled. The reason that you're watching the news now is because something's about to happen. So no, I'm not surprised at all. I'm on record an hour ago before this happened saying it's about to happen.
I've got the statement from the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran in text. In the early hours of today, Iran's nuclear facilities in Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan came under attack. These acts of aggression attributed to the Zionist enemy follows a series of recent assaults and represent a flagrant violation of international law. Tragically, these attacks were carried out with complicity and, in some cases, the silence of the IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, which is supposed to safeguard against violations of this type. The United States, through public remarks,
Well, hold on. Stop there. No. Who's putting the statement out?
This is the official statement from the Iranian Atomic Energy Organization.
What is the International Atomic Agency supposed to safeguard against? Against the violations, exactly what Iran was doing. So you can't let them twist that and say, well, this is the kind of thing. That's not the kind of thing that they're they're supposed to safeguard against. They're supposed to safeguard against what Iran was doing. And they came out just last week and said, look, we just don't have the evidence that they're doing it. We don't know that they are. We can't say that they are because we just don't have the evidence. Well, apparently other forces had the evidence, but you can't let them twist the language like that.
Third point, the United States, through public remarks made by its president, has effectively taken responsibility for the strikes on the nuclear sites that are under the IAEA monitoring in accordance with safeguards. Same story. Iran calls on the international community to reject this descent into lawlessness and to support the Islamic Republic in asserting its legitimate rights under international law. The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran assures the Iranian people that, despite the hostile conspiracies, the development of the country's peaceful nuclear program will not be halted. Thousands of scientists are working to continue the legacy of our martyred scientists. The organization has initiated all necessary measures, including legal action, to defend the rights of the Islamic Republic of Iran. That's their only statement.
However long the Islamic Republic of Iran still is an entity. Like they're in great danger of being toppled by their own citizens at this point, and they're putting this out. It's big tough talk, but it's twisting the language and the reality significantly.
Well, it's going to be very interesting and we're all going to listen together here. President Trump's statement in just about 5 minutes. It's when it's scheduled.
Yeah, don't go away, folks. Just 5 minutes. Hear what Trump had to say. We can wrap up on the other side of that, but don't go away just yet.
We do have a response from Representative Ilhan Omar.
Yeah.
Statement: the strikes on Iran, or
she's not
Trump,
like this.
Of course, we're showing everything here, guys. And executed without congressional authorization, mark are dangerous and reckless.
Wait, stop. She doesn't. She knows he doesn't need it for 60 days. He can act if there's a clear and present danger. He has the authority to act. And by the way, I'm not taking up for Trump here. My comments are going, "Oh, you're pro MAGA." I'm not. I'm actually a Reagan conservative. I'm not taking up for him. I'm saying he deserves credit where credit's due, right? But okay, she knows better than this. Keep going.
This marks a dangerous and reckless escalation of an already volatile conflict in the Middle East. Military strikes will not bring peace. They will only provoke more violence, destabilize the region, and endanger U.S. troops and civilians. We've seen what happens when diplomacy is sidelined in favor of bombs. It only brings more death and destruction. Congress must vote immediately on Representative Thomas Massie and Senator Tim Kaine's war powers resolutions when we return to session. The American people are tired of endless war. We need to end this madness before more lives are lost.
Well, I'm happy to end it right now, but I don't think Iran's going to be. That's the trick. And again, she's only looking at one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is Iran was getting close to having a bomb, apparently. I mean, from everything that we can detect from open source data. And if that was the case, if it wasn't the case and Trump just was doing it just to, show I can do something, that's terrible. But I don't think that was it. I mean, at least not from what I've seen that's been reported.
We have first statements out of the UN and the first statements out of Russia. Russia confirming that the United States has destroyed Fordow. And this is a dangerous escalation of the situation in the region.
Wait. No, they only destroyed the front and back doors.
The front and back door. Russia's confirming it's destroyed. And this is destabilizing the situation in the region and a direct threat to international peace. Fox News citing an Israeli source, 75% of Natanz and Isfahan are destroyed and 100% of Fordow. I can tell you that Erbil, Iraq, and this is from Israel now, Erbil, Iraq, American staffers are being evacuated right now. So I don't know if they know.
Where?
Erbil, Iraq, where we have Erbil, E-R-B-I-L. We're coming up on President Trump here. In just a minute, I'm just checking everything. I want to go back to, Erbil, Iraq. All diplomats from the consulate in Erbil, Iraq, being evacuated right now.
Yep. It's interesting. We don't think about this, but Iraq is majority Shia, like Iran.
Yes, they're both Shia.
But they were just suppressed by Saddam Hussein, who was an authoritarian, who was Sunni, who was oppressing the majority. And so the de-Baathification actually spread the Shia-ness. I mean, it's a hot mess over there. But yeah, they're more aligned than not.
One of the things we probably need to just put in the back of our minds, and we'll be putting update videos and lives. That's why the notification bell is so important. And once again, thank you guys. If you've come across this live and subscribed to my channel, Professor Gerdes, thank you. We're not warmongers. We want peace.
No.
We want the evil to stop in the world. We want people to get along, no matter their background, their beliefs. focus on what we can do to make the world a better place. And we're very passionate about what is happening in Ukraine and what is happening around the rest of the world, and just trying to share that with you. So in case you're wondering.
To that point, we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for medical
Over $1 million.
supplies, armored ambulances, things along those lines to keep people alive. That's the point. And we daily are keeping you informed on what's going on. So if you want to be part of that and be informed, hit the bell.
Thank you.
So that you understand, like you don't miss things. Okay, it's about 10 o'clock, Greg.
I'm watching it right here. I can bring it in instantly.
Okay. And thank you for still being here. I know this has been quite a while now. I didn't expect it to go this long, frankly.
Trump is about to address the nation from the White House. The
Here we
president
go.
not long ago announcing on social media.
Wrong video. Let me pull the other one up.
To target Iran's nuclear facilities.
Go back to this one.
Awesome.
I've got so many things going on here. If you guys can see.
Yeah, I don't know how you keep those plates spinning.
I've got good friends that help me get this stuff squared away. Okay, now we're ready. So let me just test it to make sure we got audio. If we can get a.
We do know that U.S. military aircraft flew from bases in the United States to Iran, and the president says all.
Okay, can the chat just let us know on both channels you're hearing that? Just the plus or yes, I hear.
Benjamin Netanyahu before the strikes, and the U.S. did give a heads up to Israel before the attacks.
Somebody asked if you can have subtitles
today with his
yeah, thank you. All right, let me go here. Let's go back. So we're ready for it. The moment he goes, I've got it. Let's do this. While we're waiting, I'll keep my eye right there. I just need to say thank you. So many people. Dunk on you. Thank you. We appreciate your support. And it will be interesting to see how the world responds. Blonde Bombshell are gifting 50 memberships. Another one of my mods. Thank you so much. Adrian, thanks for the quick reporting, Greg. You're very welcome, Adrian, there. And here we go, guys.
And as we look at the microphone there, we wait for the president to address the nation. Our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
Okay, he's not there yet. Let me continue. We're going to be right on it. Adrian, big supporter of Ukraine there in Switzerland. Thank you for that. Melissa Littrell. Welcome to crew member Daddy Jim. This does not make Trump strong. He's just flowing with the tide and waving as he goes by. 2 weeks. We shall see. 10 quid from Daddy Jim. Thank you there, my friend. Bruce Goose. Oh, here we go.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
President Trump there at the White House, Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio also.
All right.
That was surprisingly tight. That was a quick 5, almost 6 minutes.
I wrote some notes here, and I saw, you know, the chat. Just let it roll, guys. Okay, first thing is future attacks will be easier if needed. And then he went into the talk about lots of people, thousands of people, legs blown off, and for years, and alluding to the Iranian sponsors of terrorism.
They put a price on American soldiers' heads.
He called about the hate had to stop. He spoke about Soleimani being taken out. He then made the statement, there will be peace or there will be tragedy. Quote, there are many targets left. If we do not have peace, and I noticed he used the word, we will go after. So this is the word that was alluded to a few days ago when it says it wasn't Iran has the skies. It says we had the skies under control. And now we're hearing that more. The only other thing I would say, and then I'll just get your thought, he appeared nervous to me. It was like, I believe it appeared to me he was reading a script, and he was throwing in some adjectives as he went, but I was watching his eyes. I believe he was reading that personally, my opinion. It could be wrong. But there was some quiver in him. I heard some nervousness. But I mean, it's Mad App Max, he was reading. I agree with that, Mad App. Yeah, he was reading.
Yeah, he was reading. I don't know about nervous. Maybe he's just not used to reading how he was reading it or what. But clearly, like he was very tight with this too. Normally it's about he'll wander and then talk about himself for half of the time about this would have never happened that whatever. But he was on point.
Eli, great comment. I'm going to get to it in a minute. Prof, you're going to like this comment. Well, the bottom line that we can take from that is this. A, they've been struck. They've been hit. The United States did it. Now we have it officially out there, spoken from the president. You got Hegseth, Rubio, Vance standing behind him. He makes a prepared 5-minute statement. He turns around and walks away. And it wasn't, we're done. He did not speak about regime change. He said it's either peace or we will continue. And that's exactly what I shared with you guys. We shared an hour ago that Israel was saying. It's either going to be surrender and you can keep your regime, fire back, and we're coming back. That's just how I understand it. Goose Springsteen 20 quid earlier. I think after this began and the air defense was taken off the table, too good of an opportunity for the U.S. to miss. I can only hope the Iranian people will be able to overthrow the government as its moments of weakness. And that's the other thing. There could be a lot of work on the ground internally for overthrow. And we know agencies around the world work, CIA, others. Petra Olson, thank you. She's always loving Ukraine there in Europe. Kevin Delaney, well, regime change now a must? Question mark now, question mark. I think it's going to happen. I don't see how Ayatollah Khomeini stays in power.
The longer, my read is that the longer this goes on, the greater the probability of regime change.
Goose
so
if
Iran is smart, what they do is they say, you know what, let's have talks, let's come to the table, let's talk through things, and then they talk through it, and then they go back to their people and they say death to America, death to America, death to America after they get a deal. If they are not smart and they hit back, it goes on longer and there's more instability.
It's going to be interesting the next 24 hours. I can't wait to see, and I'm not antsy about it or like in a candy shop. I'm looking forward to see what Putin says. I'm looking forward to see what she says. I'm really looking forward to it. I want to hear, because they've put out some pretty strong rhetoric this week. Goose Springsteen, the real question we talked about earlier.
I can't help but say that's what she says because I'm a fan of The Office. So,
Goose Springsteen with the 10 quid. The real question is impact on global oil prices, especially if they disrupt the Gulf of Hormuz. It could pay off crazily for Russia in the short term, and that is correct. We talked about it. Thank you for that. Skeg head down in Australia, one of our mods, 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, brother. Kevin Delaney, 279. Canadian, Trump defies Putin in Iran, aids Putin in Ukraine.
The double standard.
That's pretty close, Kevin, now in the short term.
We're in this because we've been supporting Ukraine, right? So the double standard, we can't gloss it over. I wish Trump would take this approach with Russia. Like, if only. Yeah. I mean, I don't mean that he's going to bomb Russian whatever. I just mean that he would take a hard stance and recognize that defending Ukraine is in the interest of international order, if nothing else.
Let me ask you a speculative question, and we're winding our way down, guys. We've gave you everything, and I will check if there's anything else coming in from my Israel guys or Iran before we sign off. And do you think this rattles the Russians or the Chinese that the Americans actually did this? And if rhetoric comes now, they'll think differently?
I think it rattles the Russians, but doesn't change anything.
Okay.
And it made Xi wet his pants.
Okay.
No, seriously, because think about this. We know that Trump is kind of tight with Putin, but we also know that he has some animosity towards Xi and toward China.
Very well said.
I mean, it's pretty clear, militarily, economically, on all levels. And yeah.
Ryan Howe, Canadian too. Where was that action against Russia? Great, exactly. But we'll see. We're talking about it. Daddy Jim gifting 5 memberships. Thank you there, my brother. Just not good, $2. Did the bomb really destroy the facility? So on that, just not good, I have to believe yes. However, even Israel has been saying now we have to wait for the guys on the ground to evaluate the satellite imagery, all of that, and more confirmation will come to the level of destruction. But I think, yeah, they're not going to be enriching uranium.
How hard is it to replace it front and back door?
Yeah. And for those of you that missed it, Iranian television is on saying only the front and back door was damaged. Dunk on You gifting 20 memberships. Again, thank you for that. Olga Marks gifting 10 memberships. Thank you, Olga. Goose Springsteen, 10 quid. Please talk about Israel-Russia relationship. As far as I know, there's a pragmatic relationship. A large Russian-speaking Israeli community and some of Russia's richest oligarchs are dual citizens. That is 100% correct, Goose, and I want to say something about that. Israel has a very deep connection with Russia and also with Ukraine. For example, in the center of Ukraine, there is a city called Uman, and Uman is basically the Jewish headquarters there, the Jewish holy site inside Ukraine. And many Jews even make like a pilgrimage there once a year. I've been there for it and seen it. It's very Jewish city. There are many Jews in Ukraine and many Jews that have in the diaspora come back into Israel. In fact, one of the missiles that struck in Tel Aviv blew up or damaged a Ukrainian cafe. And, you know, it's there. In addition to that, the same applies for Russia. There are up to 2 million Russian and I don't want to put them together, guys, but Russian or Ukrainian speaking people in Israel right now. Always been that way. It's very connected. And even Vladimir Putin himself stated, we have millions of Russian speakers in Israel. And I'm not
that was terrifying to hear.
I'm not against Israel. I mean, that's what he was
terrifying
insinuating.
to hear, given the rationale of why they're going over the border in Ukraine, right?
Yes, exactly. What they speak the language, understood.
Yep.
MDW Canadian 5, sigh, Gerdes, terrible and horrific as usual. Don't forget the Iran-Saudi normalization agreement. That nuke just flips from the Iranians to the Saudis.
Well, the Saudis have said they don't want a nuke. What would they do with it? I mean, this goes back a couple of years, but I'm pretty sure the Saudis are breathing a sigh of relief right now.
Jake Bro in the chat saying, howdy, gentlemen. Howdy to you, Jake. We're covering this
Howdy, Jake.
As big as we can. And guys, coming up in a week or so, Jake and I will be doing a co-op together. So thank you, Jake. Appreciate you, my friend. Bell Ogilvy gifting 10 memberships. Greg, can you show the Ukrainian air alert for a second as well? People keep asking about Russia, but it looks like they're staying busy. I would be very happy to show it to you. It stays on my open tabs, and I'll bring it up for you. Thank you. And we stay focused on Ukraine, and I can give you the real time right now. So in Ukraine, while all of this is happening, Kharkiv is under air alarm, Poltava, and this right there on that X is where Kremenchuk is. Right there, I'm drawing in massive, massive attack on Kremenchuk the last 48 hours, and it is a key hub city for fuel and equipment moving east for the Ukrainian military. And then Donetsk region, I can tell you tonight that the cities of Kramatorsk and Slavyansk were hit by massive glide bombs. We had a child killed today, 17-year-old teenager killed tonight in Slavyansk, and Kramatorsk, just residential buildings leveled. So, but right now, listen, I think the world is in shock, to be honest, and we're going to be interested to see what comes out as we go forward. Tito Valenzuela down there from Honduras, thank you for your constant support and love for Ukraine and everything in our work. $4.99. WL, $10 super chat. Thank you. Dunk on you, another $20 super chat. Keep doing a great job, Greg. Slava Ukraini. Here you go, guys.
Slava Ukraini.
You know, you
can't help it. Got to put it out there.
You mentioned Jake was in the chat. I'd love to hear his perspective. He was working in like nuclear missile silos when he was in the Air Force. He'd have some insight that we don't have.
Yes, and Jake, if you're still in here or you're probably busy, let's put that on the list.
I'm just putting that out there and saying that to viewers, go watch Jake Bro in the next couple of days.
He's an expert on it.
Yeah, he'll have some insight we don't have.
100%. In fact, Jake's messaging me right now, Monday the 23rd or Wednesday the 25th. So, guys, let's shoot for Monday. And Jake, if you're still listening, let's go 23rd. I am still on live and letting folks know. There we go. So there you have it, guys. Real-time planning, but it's good. And Jake is an expert in this area. This was his career as he served the United States military in the nuclear field. So that'll be perfect. Perfect. All right, let's go back, guys, and finish out. Jared Draper, thank you for becoming a crew member. Sean Wright, lives in California. I don't hear Trump talking on the news. Well, we had it for you there, Sean. $10 super chat.
Yep.
And I lived in California. I lived in Sacramento, actually, Folsom. B Lady Apiary, $20 super chat. Greg, remember Putin using the Bible, quoting everywhere the foot goes is Russian territory. He's using the Joshua reference where everywhere your foot steps, it's yours. That's correct, B Lady. He will make those references. Sean Wright in California saying the information on California local news on California news is basketball championships and golf news. Well, fortunately, Sean, thank you again. We got it for you, and I hope you were there to see it. Sean, I also confirming, is an enlisted Navy veteran. Thank you for your service there. And Sean, thank you so much. Apatalk's gifting a membership. Thank you, Eli. Thank God this is a good statement. This is what I wanted to share as we were closing out. Eli from Australia. Thank God Trump stuck to a crafted narrative and not as usual off-the-cut diatribe to further inflame the situation. Now let's bring Russia to heel as well. Fantastic statement.
That's right. I mean, that was one of Trump's better things, just because he stayed so focused and quiet. You know how painful it was watching the convention?
Yeah.
He just went on and on and on.
Just not good. $2 super chat. It would have real president would said, "Okay, Putin, you want the same?" Yeah, that would have been something.
That would have been brilliant if he was willing to do that.
Herfy, Australian 14.99. Please do not stop us. B Lady Apiary. No, I did not miss your comment on Putin using his Bible. It's just so active. Catching up now. Just not good. Those doors were so radioactive that they had to evacuate the people. Probably so. Definitely there in Qom, they're evacuating. Eli, Australian 5, eagerly awaiting your next YouTube. Jake and Greg, that will be fantastic. Thank you, and greetings to Jake from Australia, and BB gifting 50 memberships. Let me go, guys, and check last time from my guys in Israel. And profiting, there we go. I got it right here. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, a couple of things, guys, and not to go longer, but we want to have the full story. We've brought you from minutes after it happened through the Trump statement, video, whatever. Now we have Antonio Guterres making a statement, and that is, I'm gravely alarmed by the use of force of the United States against Iran today. Dangerous escalation in a region already on edge and a direct threat to international peace and security. There is growing risk this conflict could rapidly get out of control with catastrophic consequences for civilians, the region, and the world. I call on member states to de-escalate and to uphold their obligations under the UN Charter and other rules of international law at this perilous hour. Critical to avoid a spiral of chaos. No military solution. The only path forward is diplomacy. The only hope is peace. Okay, Guterres, I'll get that, but let me just tell you one thing. If you want to put bold statements out about the United States taking out a terroristic, desirous regime that spreads terror around the world, then why don't you make that kind of statement against Russia? That's all I'm going to say. You want to talk about...
So the reality was it was out of control for the last however many years as Iran was doing this. It's not the out of control just tonight. I understand the acuteness of this, but that's not the same as saying, like, the problem was what Iran has been doing, and you've got to focus on that. And yeah.
And for those of you guys that are, just as we're closing out, I'm making sure we're completely there. This was actually in the Situation Room as they watched the attack unfold. I'm giving you everything I got.
I think that's it.
That's it.
And we've been at this over 2 hours.
I know. It's really good for you. I'm proud of you. I'm just making sure there's nothing else out of Israel. The last
Look, man, we'll talk about whatever else tomorrow.
Well, I guess we
come
can
back,
just
subscribe, hit the bell. We'll be back.
Wait, we can end with this. Vitamin B2. And that's what we'll end with there, guys. Hey, thank all of you so much for being here, and we appreciate you. It's important to have that notification bell on because things like this can happen in this world at any time. Prof, thank you, and to all the community members there at Prof Gerdes Explains. And be blessed, guys. We'll keep you updated the very best we can. And I think we'll do this to close out regardless.
Slava Ukraini!
Have a good night. Let me end these. And I know I'm still live, but actually I'll roll this. Stay there 1 minute, Prof. People like to chat and say thank you and goodbyes in the chat. Here we go, guys. I'm going to roll my Ukraine outro.
Slava Ukraini!